Yeah, first week back or back at practice, first few weeks back at school. You guys, do y'all remember anything from last week? What we talked about, right? Talking about our pillars of offense, basically what we want to identify as like an organization, right? Offensively. So today we're going to kind of expand on that just a little bit more and get more in depth with creating an approach. So kind of mentioned this last week that we were going to expand on this a little bit more. So I got 5 points up here we're going to go through. Um, Depending how quick I go, I do want to cover some defensive stuff tonight. So we might finish with talking about some defensive stuff. I'm not sure though. We'll see how quick we go. Um, First off, first thing I'm going to get to, and I want you guys just to, the little chat down there, just answer down there. But if I asked you guys who the best player was, and I'm talking about Jay's players, if I said who's the best player, who would you say that is? I want you guys to take a second and just answer it in the chat. Just whatever you think the best player is. And I have a reason I'm asking this question. So after a few you guys answer and I see what y'all say, I'll tell you why I'm asking that. Or if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine too. You can unmute yourself and just say something, whatever's going to be quickest for us. See, we have a few answers up here. All of us, me, everyone's on team. Okay, we got some good answers. Okay, so I like it. I like the answers. You guys are catching on to what I'm putting down here. All right, first off, does anybody have any questions from last week on what we went over or anything that happened at practice? If you don't have a question, then I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys why I just asked that. So I asked that question, who's the best? Because all you guys that said me, that is the answer that I was looking for. And you guys that said everyone or like your teammates, like I appreciate those answers. Those are all good answers. Being team players, like I'm all for it. But the mentality that I want you guys to adapt as a baseball player is every single time that you're stepping on the field mentally, you have to believe you're the best player on that field, no matter what, regardless of if it's true or not. If you guys think about guys that are in the big leagues, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, do you think Aaron Judge goes up to the plate and ever worries that the pitcher on the mound is better than him and he's going to strike him out or throw him a pitch he can't hit, or maybe he's feeling scared that he's going to get hit or be stepping out of the box, right? Aaron Judge doesn't do that. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani doesn't get on the mound and pitch to a hitter and think, oh no, my pitches aren't good enough or I don't throw hard enough. This guy's going to hit me. Every single time they play, they have the confidence that they believe they're the best player. And so this is not a cockiness. This is not like an arrogance where you're, rubbing it in people's face or you're having bad body language, but it's just the way you carry yourself, it's the way you go about your game, and it's the way you prepare. It's having the mental makeup basically that you have put in the work and you trust that once you get into the game that that work is going to allow you to be successful. And so I say that because as a hitter or a pitcher, that's basically a one-on-one battle, right? Like that's no different than in basketball, we're playing one-on-one, you trying to stop me from scoring, or football, a receiver lining up with a cornerback, the quarterback's trying to stop the receiver from catching the ball. So think about when you get in the box as a hitter, we want to have that same mindset going against the pitcher that no matter what he may be doing, but he has to face me. I'm the guy he has to go through to get to the next guy in the order. And I'm going to make it difficult on him. Now, sometimes we're going to fail and maybe we don't get a hit or we don't get on base, and that's fine. That's part of baseball. But you want to put pressure on that pitcher to either make his pitch count go up or make him make a mistake that he's going to leave something over the plate that you're going to be able to crush. So the first thing with having an approach all starts with our mental makeup. If we go in the box with confidence, just confidence alone is going to make us hard to get out. That's the basically like the bare minimum that we have to do when it comes to having an approach. And so some of this approach is stuff, kind of like we talked about last week, some of you younger guys, the 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, this might be a little over your head, a little advanced. What you guys can do, and I'll talk about it at the very end, is out of these 5 things, you guys probably need to do 1 or 2. You older guys, 13, 14, y'all need to start learning how to do all 5 of these things that I have here on the screen that we're about to go over. So, the first thing on building an approach is going to be knowing yourself as a hitter. So, that's knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. So, what are your strengths? What pitches do you hit well? Where on the field do you hit the ball to the best? Like if you're a oppo hitter, you should try to look for pitches on the outside part of the plate. If you don't hit the ball very well the other way, you swing and miss or you pull off, then maybe you need to look for pitches that are on the inner half of the plate that you can pull to the pull side. Same thing with your weakness. You guys got to start thinking about what do you struggle with? What pitches for you are tough to hit? Whether that's a location, is that a speed? Because speed is part of that. Um, or is that a certain pitch type, like you 13, 14-year-olds, when you guys start seeing more off-speed pitches and better off-speed pitches? Those are the things we want to start thinking about when we're building an approach is when we start building an approach, this is where we want to start, is knowing ourselves as a hitter and what do I do well and what do I do bad? Because that's going to direct us on that approach building where our approach needs to go. So the second thing that you have to do from knowing who you are as a hitter is understanding what the pitcher is going to try to do to you. And this also comes with understanding what has the pitcher done to the other guys on your team. If you're the leadoff hitter of the game, then you don't really have anything to go off of, right? Like you're the first hitter. The only thing you've seen is the 8 warm-up pitches that that pitcher has thrown at the beginning of the game. That's all you have to go off of what he's going to throw you. If you're the 9 hitter, well, you essentially just had 8 other at-bats in front of you before you ever even went up to the plate. So even though you're not on deck or maybe you're not in the box, if you just watch the pitcher, he's going to tell you everything that you need to know for 8 other hitters, and those are essentially at-bats for you. Because now if you're in the dugout, mentally you can watch him and you can say, okay, the last 3 guys he's faced, he's thrown a first pitch fastball. The second pitch he's thrown has been a curveball. So if I come up to the plate and he's done that every single time for the last 3 or 4 hitters, I should be expecting, and when I say expect, I mean 99%, 95%, like I am sure that that is what he's thrown. If he throws something else, he beats me on that pitch. But I know almost for 100% fact is as much as it would be like similar to him saying, "Hey," just yelling out of the mound, "Hey, I'm throwing a fastball." Like that's how for sure you are in knowing that he's going to throw that pitch. If he's done that to the hitters before you, you get up and you say, "Okay, he's gone first pitch fastball, second pitch curveball." That's what I have to look for. That's a beginning place of building an approach. So for all you guys, y'all are all going to have plenty of time on the bench. what you guys can do is, yes, have fun with your teammates, talk to your teammates, but if you guys are paying attention, this is something you guys can talk to each other about. Start asking another player on your team, hey, what pitch did he throw you, first pitch, or what pitch did he throw you when you had two strikes? Or just as you're sitting there watching the game, y'all can talk about the pitcher and what he's doing. Because the pitcher is always going to tell you guys what he's going to try to do to you if you just watch how he pitches the other hitters. If he throws really hard and he throws everybody else fastballs, you should pretty much be knowing that because he throws hard, throws harder than other players, that he's going to try to blow a fastball by you because he doesn't believe you can hit it. If it's the opposite, if he is like a junk ball pitcher, he throws really slow and throws a lot of off-speed pitches. And you've seen that all the other hitters that he's thrown a bunch of curveballs or a bunch of changeups. Well, now you can go up to the plate and saying, well, if I get a fastball, I better hit it because I'm not going to get anything else other than that than off-speed pitches. Or you do the other. You say, well, okay, I'm going to sit on off-speed pitches because I know that's all he's throwing to me. So just by starting to play that game, kind of, I don't know if any of you guys play chess, but like when I was y'all's age, I had a chess club in elementary school and I played chess. But you got to think about you and the pitcher, y'all are playing a game of chess or y'all are playing a game of cat and mouse, right? He is trying to disrupt your timing at the end of the day. That's all hitting and pitching, the dynamic between the two. That's all they are, is the pitcher trying to disrupt the hitter's timing so that can't make solid contact. So if you as the hitter start studying the pitcher before you ever even come up to the plate, that begins to give you an edge on what to expect, what pitch he's going to throw. And then at that point, you just have to be ready to swing. Like if you have certainty or or expect, I'm trying to use a variety of words so that the different ages here, y'all can all follow me. But if I am expecting or confident that he is going to throw me a certain pitch, I should pretty much be swinging no matter what, unless obviously that pitch is like way over my head, it's at my feet, it's way outside. But we should not be looking at pitches that we're expecting to come, that are our meatball pitches. The other part of that is understanding where the umpire strike zone is. I know you guys, like y'all, for the most part, are not going to have the greatest umpires. You're not going to have consistent umpires, but you can at least get a gauge again just by watching your teammates, watching what your pitcher does when you're on defense. Like all those other parts of the game, they tell you what's going on. They're giving you information. So you guys got to take in that information and process it during the game and think about it. And so if the umpire is basically calling, say, from the belt all the way to the top of the helmet, well, yeah, the top of the helmet's not a strike. We can't change what the umpire's calling. Like that is that umpire strike zone. But if we know the top of the helmet is a strike for that game, for my three at bats I'm going to have that day, then I can be prepared to swing if the ball is at my shoulders. I'm probably not going to have good odds at hitting it right because that's technically not a good pitch. But I'm trying to exaggerate a little bit so you guys can follow me. And then if his zone is high and the pitcher's throwing you a bunch of pitches at your feet or at your ankles, at your knees, well, you can automatically basically wipe those out that you don't have to swing at those because you know the umpire's not calling them. So as you're think of this as like a process or a funnel, right? Like you start with one, then we go to two, then we go to three, we go to four, we go to five, and putting all these pieces together, one through five, that's how we start to build our approach. So once you guys recognize who you are as a hitter, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, now that's kind of your main foundation that you build off of, right? Once you get to the game, you learn what is the pitcher trying to do to you and where is the umpire strike zone. Those are the next two things you take in to start building that approach. I'm gonna jump to number four first before I go to three because I should have flipped those. But part of understanding what the pitcher is trying to do to you or watching him on deck or watching him in the dugout is seeing which pitches you can eliminate. And for you guys at y'all's ages, this should be really easy just because pitchers are not going to be able to throw 3 or 4 really good pitches. You guys that are in high school, a little bit different because you're going to start facing pitchers that do have more command. So now you probably have 3 pitches that you have to worry about. But as you youth guys, 13, 12, 11, 10, y'all really only have 1 or 2 pitches, right? Fastball and changeup or fastball curveball. So when you're watching the pitcher in warm-ups or you're watching the pitcher while you're on the bench, if you see that every single time he throws a curveball and it has that big loop in it and it's hitting right in front of the plate, well, if he's done that 10 times and all 10 times it's that's where it's hit, it's been short, you can go up to the plate and say, well, hey, I don't have to worry about his curveball. If he throws me a curveball, it's not going to be a strike because he's showing that he can't command it. He can't throw it for a strike. So the only thing that I have to look for now is a fastball. And if I get my fastball, I got to be ready to hit. So the quicker that you guys can eliminate those pitches based on just watching the pitcher and him showing that he doesn't have command of a pitch or he doesn't have control of a pitch, he can't throw a pitch for a strike, that is going to help you as a hitter be able to start. I don't know if you guys know this word, but deduce what you have to do. Kind of start figuring out, putting together the plan of what pitches you're going to get as a hitter in that situation. High school guys, like I said, you are going to have probably 3 pitches you have to worry about. So if you're on warm-ups and you see that he can throw his changeup and he can throw his fastball, but he can't throw his curveball, well, now all you have to worry about is fastball changeup. The other thing is you guys start to get older, so this will apply more to you high school guys. Start trying to pick up on your tendencies, basically, of what pitches the pitcher is going to throw to different hitters. So a right-handed hitter versus a left-handed hitter. Most of the time, a righty pitcher is going to throw a curveball to a right-handed hitter and a changeup to a left-handed hitter because the curveball is going to break away from the righty and the changeup's going to run away from the lefty. It's going to be opposite for a lefty pitcher. A changeup is going to pitch. A lefty pitcher is going to throw a changeup to a righty hitter because that changeup is going to run away from the righty, and then he's going to throw a curveball to the lefty hitter because that curveball basically comes out of his hand looking like it's going at the hitter and then breaks back across the plate. So that's something else that you guys can start picking up on as you become a higher level hitter is understanding that as pitchers start having 3 or 4 pitches, they're really only going to throw certain pitches to certain hitters. Now, you get deep in a count, 3-2, 2-2, you're fouling off pitches, or maybe you've already faced the guy 2 or 3 times, then yeah, he might throw you something just like a 1 or 2 times just to show it to you, like a show me pitch. But his out pitches, which is what you guys got to learn, is going to be what I just mentioned. It's going to be he's throwing this to a righty hitter and it's going to be different for a lefty hitter. So the third thing is you guys start learning what pitches you can eliminate and apply those to 1 and 2. That's going to help you start developing this approach. So number 4 for us as a hitter is going to be what is the situation of the game? And this is probably one of the most important parts of building an approach because the situation is going to dictate what you really need to try to do. If I'm leading off the game and or let me say leading off the inning. If I'm leading off the inning and it's the second inning, first inning we went 1-2-3 and he throws me a first pitch curveball. That's probably not the best pitch to swing at unless he just leaves a hanger and I time it up and I crush it. But if it's a good curveball, one of those that has like a sharp break to it and is low in the zone, I don't want to swing at that because even if I do hit it, I'm not very likely to put hard contact on it. So now I just gave up my at bat. Similar to RBI situations. If I have a guy on third base and there's less than 2 outs, well, I should be ultra aggressive. Like like in swing mode because if I hit a ground ball up the middle, shortstop or second base, I'm going to get an RBI. Or if I hit a fly ball to the outfield, I'm going to get an RBI. And if I square something up and get a hit, well, then I get a hit and the RBI. So start thinking about the situations of the game. And this is why during practice, during the cage practice, your coaches at times during live will have you do situational rounds. Well, he'll tell you that the base runner is on a certain base, right? And he wants you to hit it to a certain place. Those situations that you work on are part of building that approach. If we have a guy on first base, we don't want to hit the ball to the shortstop, right? Because if we're a righty hitter, I'm gonna say I use this with me hitting. I'm a righty. So if I have a guy on first base and I'm hitting, I don't want to hit a ground ball to the shortstop because the second baseman is the one that's covering second if that guy on first steals. So he's a little bit shaded up the middle, whereas the shortstop's playing probably more of a true position for him, true depth. So if I ground it out to him, I just ground it into a double play. But if I go the other way and I hit that ball through the hole between first and second, now I'm going to get a base hit and I'm going to advance that runner. So your situations are also going to tell you about your approach of what you need to do. I say earlier in the game, you can be more aggressive because you're trying to get your timing, you want to get your swings off. You also want to try to score early and put pressure on that pitcher and get him out of the game, right? We want to get to bullpens early, especially for you youth guys. Y'all are playing in tournaments. Y'all don't know how much pitching some of these teams may have, right? They might be trying to save pitching either for their second game on Saturday or for the rest of the day on Sunday. So if we get in there and we tattoo a guy and we knock him out of the game early, well, now they're going to have to go to their bullpen and throw pitchers that maybe aren't as good. Let's say the opposite situation. Let's say it's a close game or we're losing and it's late in the game. Now, that's more of a situation where we might not want to be as aggressive as we would be earlier in the game. Like we might want to tone down our aggressiveness of trying to swing and try to see more pitches. If the starter's still in the game, we want to see pitches to continue running his pitch count up and try to get him out of the game. If the starter's not in the game, then we want to be patient because maybe if we need base runners, we want to force this guy to throw pitches, see if he walks us. Maybe he leaves something up that we can crush. We don't want to give away at bats. So the situation of the game is going to be probably one of the most important parts of building your approach because all these other one, two, and three, basically one, two, and four, because I'm like I said, what pitches you can eliminate is number three. But putting those first three pillars together, that's like your ground piece, right? Now that situation is going to be what changes how your approach goes. You have your foundation that like this is what I'm doing most of the time, but this is how I need to change my game plan based on what the game is telling me. And then the last thing is going to be shrink the zone. And so this is going to apply more for you older guys, 13, 14, high school, the younger guys that are in the youth, 9 and 10, 11. I need you guys just going up there and if the ball's over the white, we're trying to crush it, right? We don't necessarily have to be picky because pitchers are not going to have a good enough command where you're going to get plenty of pitches to hit, right? The rule of thumb, like if we're talking about a college or a major league hitter, they say you only get one pitch to hit. The rest of the other pitches are pitchers' pitches. High school, you're going to get 2 to 3 pitches to hit. 14, 13, you might get 3 or 4. With you young guys, y'all are pretty much, if it's over the plate, it's a hittable pitch just because pitchers are not going to be able to paint the corners. So for you older guys, when we're shrinking the zone, similar to what we talked about last week of having our hot zones over the plate, like MLB The Show, we want to think about that same concept of basically we're going to split the plate into 4 quadrants. We kind of covered this last week. So 4 quadrants, and I have the top half of the zone, bottom half of the zone, the inside half of the zone, and the outside half of the zone. I basically want to pick 2 of those quadrants and say, if that pitch is here, I'm going to swing at it. So if I'm looking at only pitches that are up in the zone, so maybe that's like at my belly button and higher, then I should only be swinging at those pitches. If a pitcher throws me something low that's in the dirt or is at my knees, I shouldn't swing because that wasn't the pitch I was looking for. That wasn't the plan that I had. And then this is, this is just the game of baseball. This is how it goes. But if you're looking in one spot, and that spot can change pitch to pitch. So I don't want you guys thinking that you have to go to the plate and you can only look at that one spot the whole time. Like if he throws you, let's say you're looking fastball, let's say I'm looking fastball down and he throws me a fastball away and it's kind of like a middle. Now I say I'm going to look in. Why would I look in? Because he just threw it away. Now he's going to try to change my eyes and go in where I felt like the ball was really far away from me on the other side of the plate. Now he's going to throw it in on my hands to make it feel like it's right on top of me, right? So from pitch one to pitch two, I can change where I'm looking in the zone. But we want to shrink the zone because if as pitchers are going to get better and they're going to have better command, we're not going to be able to cover the whole plate with him throwing three pitches with one that's straight, one that's breaking to the left, and one that's slower and breaking down and in. It's going to be too hard, especially when we have two strikes and we have no clue what he's going to throw, right? Like pitchers in the driver's seat at that point, he can do whatever he wants with us. So us shrinking the zone allows us to have a smaller sight that we're looking for to hit. But we also have to remember that if the pitcher does hit his spot and that spot's not what we're looking for, then you just tip your hat to him. Like that is baseball. It's gonna happen. And it's how it goes. So when that happens, you then put that in your memory bank. And that goes back to point number two. As you start having at bats throughout the game, you start to understand, okay, what is this pitcher trying to do to me? Right? Like last time he threw me nothing but curveballs and I'm the four-hole hitter. And now the second time I'm coming up to bat, I have a guy in second and third. So I'm probably not going to get a fastball down the middle because he doesn't want me to drive these runs in. But I can take that information that I got from the first at bat and apply it to the second one. So don't be afraid, you guys, to start thinking about this stuff. And don't be afraid to like basically start applying it and be wrong. Like, don't be afraid that, okay, this at bat, I'm only going to look for pitches that are up. And even though, I don't get a pitch that's up and I end up striking out, okay, oh well. Like, don't let that get you down. Still continue to try to work on it because as you do this, as you build that approach and you have a plan when you go to the plate, number one is going to become a lot easier to identify and become clearer. And the more that you begin to know yourself, then two, three, four, and five become a lot easier as well. Because now you know who you are as a hitter and where that approach has to be built to allow you to have success. The other thing is when you guys are in the cage and y'all are taking swings, especially when y'all are taking swings off the machine or off live, that's the other time you can start learning yourself. You can see what pitches that coach throws to you that you hit really well and what pitches that you swing at that you don't get the best contact on. And so now you can start putting that in your memory bank. Okay, I hit this pitch well. I don't hit this pitch well. When I get into the game, I got to focus on these pitches that I've been crushing in practice. All right. Once you guys start doing this stuff and y'all create a plan, I promise it's going to help you guys because hitting becomes really, really hard as you get older and pitchers become better. Like when pitchers are throwing harder and all their pitches have sharper movement and they're all like there's big, basically velocity gaps between them, like a fastball and a curveball, say they have 10 miles an hour difference on them, like that's hard to hit because you're gearing up for this ball that's going to come really hard. And now all of a sudden the ball's breaking and is really slow and it's tempting to want to take your body to the ball versus letting the ball come to you. The other thing I want to add on this, and this was something that I learned in college, we want to hit with runners in scoring position. I remember when I was at Prairie View, we played Grambling State, and Grambling State was like one of the best hitting schools that we had in our conference or that we played. Like they raked. And so I asked the first base coach, like, man, like how do you guys hit so well? Like, what is it that y'all do? And he said that their mindset that they instilled was it's not about the hits that you get when no one's on base, but it's about the hits that you get when guys are on base. So what that means is you don't want to be the hitter that when you come up to the plate when nobody's on base, you're hitting like 600. You're guaranteed to get a hit. But then you come up with a guy on second and third, or a guy on second, guy on first, and now all of a sudden you have a chance to produce because you have guys that are on base and have a chance to score. And now you're hitting, 200. So you went from hitting 600 with nobody on base when you don't have any pressure to now you're hitting 200 when you do have guys on base and there's pressure on you, right? We want to be the hitters that thrive under that pressure and can hit with that pressure because that's how we're going to drive in runs. So another thing that one of my coaches taught me when I was in junior college is he said, depending on where the runner's at, between first, second, and third, that's how many swings you should be looking to take that at bat. So if I have a guy on third with less than 2 outs, all I have to do is put the ball in play, and I'm 90% likely that I'm going to get an RBI, right? If I hit it to the third baseman, the pitcher, or the first baseman, those are the only times the run's not going to score. But if I hit the ball up the middle, if I hit it to the outfield, if I hit a deep fly ball, that's all going to give me a chance to score a run or drive in a run. So because that guy is only 90 feet away on third base, I want to take 3 swings. I have more swings to play with to try to get him in. If I have a guy on second base, then I want to tone it down. I want to try to take 2 swings. Like I'm really now focusing more on my pitch that I can drive him in. So I can crush it, hit in the gap, and hit a double or something like that. Guy on first base, same thing. Try to take 1 swing. I'm really zoning in on that pitch that's going to allow me to advance that guy to second base. And then you have nobody on base. You just got to attack your at bat similar to whatever the situation of the game is. Again, going back to number 3 and 4, basically what pitches are you going to be able to eliminate and what is the situation of the game that you need to do. Is it late where you need to try to draw a walk, see a lot of pitches? Is it early where you need a hit, can start a rally? Did you guys have a quick inning on defense? If you had a quick inning on defense, you might not want to go up there and swing at the first pitch, right? Like all of these factors that go in that happen during the game are going to go into building an approach. And then the last thing, and this kind of brings everything back together basically, but it takes me back to the very first thing with our mindset. You have to believe you're better than the pitcher when you're in the box. And when you have that belief that you're better than him, now you're in attack mode. And we are in the box. We have a bat in our hand. We're trying to see how hard we can hit that ball and how far we can hit it. And we're swinging to do damage. We're swinging to be on offense. We are one of like my mentors growing up, he called us, my favorite animal is lions, but he would say tigers. So I call you guys lions. But he said, you want to be a lion in the box. You want to be a tiger in the box. And that guy that's on the mound, that's your deer, that's your gazelle. He's your prey. That's who you're chasing after to go attack. So when we're in the box, we're lions, we're birds, we're flocks. We're attacking that pitcher. We're attacking the ball. All right. Um, does anybody have any questions after I go through all that? I love all the lion emoji. Caden, that's awesome. Uh, you guys are in here chatting. I like it. Um, so one thing, because we're about to wrap this up. Um, you youth players, you guys are gonna have a grade check next Monday, I think it is. It's dark in my office, so I can't see my calendar. I think that's the 15th. You guys are going to have a grade check. I will send it out to your coaches and in the um, group me, but you guys will need to bring your grades to your coaches. And then the other thing, I'm going to be sending out a quiz this week for you guys to do. It's going to be about 8 questions. It's not going to be anything crazy, but I basically just want to see where you guys are at as far as your understanding of the game with different scenarios, and different just knowledge of the game because me knowing what you do or don't know is going to help me be able to help you know what you need to know, if that makes sense. That's kind of a tongue twister. But I just want to do it. We're probably going to do that, like I said last week, every other week, maybe every 3 weeks, just to continue going over situations and stuff so that I can see where y'all's baseball knowledge is and we can continue getting better.